Oh, now it decides to show up. Hi everyone, today we're here and we're talking about Marvel, everyone's favourite company to hate and Disney's biggest, sad puppy to kick. Okay, so we're going to be talking the good, the bad, the ugly, the MCU.
MCU.
Yeah, that crap. Fate. Yeah, everything after Infinity War is just... Ugh.
I'm gonna be real. I stopped watching before Infinity War even came out.
I will say Endgame had a lot of technical problems with the story and whatnot, but Endgame was a very good emotional wrap up to phases 1, 2, and 3.
It was. I really did.
I agree.
It's the film before that and everything past that that is bad and ugly.
I'll argue that the two films that were good past Endgame was No Way Home and Guardians 3.
Well, No Way Home was actually made by Sony.
Yeah,
correct.
Sony movie.
Well, okay, that's
half true.
That kind of yes and kind of no. I mean, Sony puts up the cash and they get the lion's share, but that is Kevin Feige's people making that.
Yeah.
Film.
I guess it is actually.
Now the reason it did, I would say part of the reason that it was as successful as it was, Sony did not give them time to insert their wokeness in it because they literally had 10 months pre-filming, post, get it done, get it out.
Yeah.
Well, and that's also why it worked as such a good epilogue to the 22 movies leading up to it.
Yeah. One of the things a lot of the people were saying during Endgame is that the theory was that they had filmed the two movies as one long movie and split it in two. For the actor scheduling and thing like that. Instead of bringing them back. Because, I forget which Avengers movie, but during the previous Avengers movie before Infinity War, they had an issue with
Ultron.
Yeah, I think it was that one. That had an issue with Scarlett Johansson being pregnant in it. Right? So they had to CGI her and put her onto fake bodies and get all of her shots.
Which is really ironic given one of the major reveals in that movie. Yeah.
It's I can't get pregnant. Yeah, anyway, guys, we need to hurry this shit up. She's going to start getting fat soon.
Well.
But Marvel nowadays is nothing like what it was back in the heyday in the 90s and in the 80s.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up on the X-Men comics, Wolverine, the animated X-Men show from the 80s. I mean, everyone...
92? You mean 92?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, 92. Everyone here remembers that intro. I can't play it due to copyright reasons, due to the YouTube overlords.
On a side note, I have gotten to speak to the composer of that. He also did Go-Go Power Rangers and several others. The dude is top tier kick ass.
Now, and I would say if it was not for the great amount of, 1992 was a great year for animation. Let's just be honest. In the same year, you had the X-Men, but out of the Warner Brothers, you had Batman the animated series.
And isn't that around the same time Gargoyles started?
There's Gargoyles and Animaniacs.
Yeah.
So, and don't forget, and he also did Rock the Dragon for Dragon Ball Z as well. But bear in mind, you even had like certain anime titles popping up that they darkened the Ninja Turtles up a bit, to kind of keep up with it. Batman the animated series was out. Like, that was a time of hardcore. Everything had a rock, like a hard rock overtone with
let's don't
with
forget.
rap somewhere in the back.
Let's don't forget that's also around the time the Superman animated series came out, and Bruce
Oh,
Timm
yeah.
was
94.
Yeah,
94.
just
And
shortly
wasn't
after
that the
though.
Batman animated TV series which led into the whole like animated like
Yep, the
universe?
the JL animated universe.
They recently actually made a animated movie sequel to the Batman animated TV show.
They had a lot of them.
Yeah, but like I'm talking about like years later, they recently made one like either last year or the year before, with the actress who played Bernadette in The Big Bang Theory voicing Harley Quinn, which is actually ironic because in the TV series they have Kaylee Cuoco from The Big Bang Theory voicing Harley Quinn as well,
Right.
and they put a fart joke into the movie.
Always.
Let's don't get too wrapped up in DC though.
Right.
But back on topic. Yeah.
So we're talking
But,
Marvel here. So one of the first Marvel properties, and a lot of and this gets overlooked a lot, was Blade.
Oh yeah,
Blade gets no respect anymore.
Well,
Like-
but that's also because they distance it like they meant for people not to know that was a comic book title. Like they wanted people just to see it as a vampire action movie.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
But yet,
Well, they were.
but yet it stuck fairly close to the source.
It did do very well. Yes.
Yeah.
And then you get then you really don't get another thing from Marvel really until like you get the two Jessica Alba, Chris Evans Fantastic Four films.
Well, no, there was the
Well, I think
2000
they came
X-Men.
There was
After the
that
first Spider-Man.
oddball. There was that.
Okay, you're right.
There was that oddball
And
Punisher
Spud.
movie that had
Thomas
I
Jane.
forgot his name. No.
Yeah.
Before that,
Dolph
Thomas
Lundgren.
Jane.
Dolph Lundgren.
Oh,
Dolph
Dolph
Lundgren.
Lundgren was the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
But
then you
don't
had
think-
Thomas Jane, and then you had the Thomas Jane. You had the Ray Stevenson film.
And Ray Stevens. Yeah.
Warzone wasn't that bad either. I have both of them.
Now, and yes, and my mistake, I did overlook the X-Men films, mostly because most of them are pretty forgettable films.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, you've got to admit the first one was good for at the time, regardless. Like at the time, it was definitely on point. But that's the thing, though. I mean, we had the
guys, you're
Tobey
forgetting-
Maguire
you're
Spider-Man.
forgetting the original Avengers movie.
Oh boy.
Oh God. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I absolutely loved everything on this screen. I have seen all of it, and I would have watched that movie had they done that. I don't know if I'd have liked it, but I would have definitely watched it.
Oh God.
Yeah,
that Red Brown Captain
Post I
America.
saw like a few months ago where
Professor, on it.
where if like the 90s, some of the 90s stars were the like cast as the Avengers, the MCU back then would have probably been a tad bit better than the current phase and the last phase has been combined.
Yeah, maybe.
Like some of the stuff from the 90s, like FPS was showing me like they had like an animated Spider-Man, the Spider-Man Ultimate Spider-Man show, and that animated one you were telling me about, FPS.
So that one, Revan, it technically isn't in the 90s. It's a 2003 animation.
Yeah.
It
The
was
one from MTV.
I think so. It was called
Yep.
Spider-Man: The New Animated Series.
Yep, that was MTV.
I don't know why. I just really liked that art style. I really enjoyed it. To be fair, I was a child, so I mean, like, take it with a grain of salt. Like,
Yeah.
but like, it just really appeased me. I liked how like it was kind of like, it felt really stroby.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And then but then again, MTV also gave us Ren and Stimpy and
Stimpy.
Eon and Eon
Yeah.
Flux.
Yeah, true.
But this is the Spider-Man show that he's talking about.
And the Max.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I tried watching that, and I had to, like,
I do
watch,
not.
like,
I
three
do not
times.
remember that at all. I don't.
I had to watch it 3 times.
Dude,
It was so
did-
boring.
It got a single
Did any of
season.
you watch the X-Men
It was so-
anime?
It was one.
And no, not the anime.
I
Yes,
did watch one.
Yes, I have
Yeah.
all the anime shows. I've got Wolverine, I've got the X-Men series, Blade, and Iron Man. I've even got the 2 movies afterwards, Iron Man: Rise of the Technovore and Avengers: Confidential. Like, I have that whole continuity. I love that continuity.
Yeah. Now, Favre has decided to play show and tell.
Well,
so-
because I want it to be made clear why I have some really fucking strong opinions
Go ahead.
about some of this shit. Because this motherfucker right here is one of the things that got me started in Marvel. And barely anybody in the
Enhance.
modern audience even fucking remembers the actual fucking Nick Fury.
David Hasselhoff.
Well,
Yes.
he was the one that played him live action, yeah. He's the
Yeah,
only one
yeah,
that ever
yeah,
did.
yeah. That 1998 movie had a lot of heart, man.
But
Now, they
this-
have made...
This is back in the fucking like the 80s. This is literally Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's work.
Wow.
This whole fucking book. This is the old Nick Fury 70s super spy shit. And that's where I came in. I came in with that and then the fucking stack. I need to demonstrate just how stupid this is. Let me set these over here for you. This fucking stack of fucking Punisher collections. Because this is what got me started on Marvel back in the day, was the fucking Punisher, Frank fucking Castle, which Marvel has gone out of their way for the last 10 years to destroy until they literally managed it.
Oh, yeah, he's, they're replacing Frank Fisher as the Punisher.
Yeah, well, they killed Frank.
Frank
He's
Castle,
in
but yeah.
Afterlife bullshit.
Yeah, they
now.
didn't just kill him. They didn't just kill him. They humiliated him. They debased him completely. They made the people that he trusted turn against him. Then they brought his wife just to say she was cheating on him, pregnant with another
Yeah.
guy, and was contemplating deleting herself.
She'd been
you know,
planning to divorce him for years.
Yeah.
to divorce him. I mean, this is ridiculous, and that's the thing. That's not just an attack on that character. That's not just an attack on the other co-creator of the character. That is, yeah. I mean, the fact of the matter is that is an attack on all the fans who love that character, who have
Speaking
followed
about
that character.
attack, what they did is they done a storyline where they had Spider-Man going into a pocket universe, right? Now the time there, as everyone who's watched anything to do with Marvel, DC, or any sci-fi knows, runs differently in the pocket universe, right? So in this pocket universe, Mary Jane was there with some other dude who got stuck there before. Don't know how. Ended up with 2 kids. Spider-Man goes there and breaks.
Because Marvel loves to fucking dismantle their old characters.
Spider-Man.
I'm saying
Yeah, go ahead.
Marvel in general. Marvel
Yeah.
loves these days to just dismantle any of their freaking old characters, their originals, their founding
Yeah.
characters. And just consider, if you think about just alone the Punisher bullshit, the legacy behind it, because there's so many different series of Punisher. You've got the Max series, which are the super serious ones. And then you've got there's a whole bunch of those. You've got Marvel Knights, which these are ones
Yep.
that ran from to the early 2000s.
Of course,
There
you
were
got
entire
Warzone.
Warzone, their entire runs of these.
Yep.
Years of fucking material.
We'll
in
get to you, Joker, when he's done with this point, okay?
Yeah, I will get into the whole Miss Marvel debacle when my next turn comes around.
Yeah, but
it's
Joker...
like, this is just obnoxious.
Oh, sorry.
I'm all right. Go ahead.
This is, as far as the comics go, this started when Kevin Feige took over as president of Marvel Comics.
Exactly.
I want to say the big hit started, but it was kind of on its way there before Feige took it.
But the point, well, yes, because Feige had been pulling some of the strings from the back that entire time. He is the biggest wolf in geeks clothing that we've ever had the misfortune to have to deal with any of our favorite properties.
There's another 2-letter word involved in all this undoing, though, and it's Sana Amanat.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get to her, but Feige, when he became the guy at Marvel Studios, was pressuring the comic books to kind of fall in line with the films.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
And then when Disney, really took over, and they put Kevin in charge of Marvel Comics as well, that's when you got the all new, all different
again
Marvel, right? So, let's not beat around the bush. Marvel as a business has had a very checkered past.
Oh,
they are. I would not say that they are a successful.
Yeah, that ain't checkers. That's hopscotch.
Right, but I would not say that they are a successful business model.
Not really, considering half the reason that Disney bought them is because they were doing so bad at the time.
Right.
They had built up so much of their own problems. And one of the things that when we rotate back to me again, I'll get into where I feel like one of those big points started before Disney got a hold of it.
Hey guys, someone pointed out because I was looking up for when we get to Captain Marvel, right? Mm-hmm. They've gone back for the 2023 edition of Endgame and given Captain Marvel abs.
Of course they have.
They've digitally imposed abs onto her bloody costume.
Speaking of digitally imposed,
they had to give her a digital ass in one of the movies.
No, that wasn't digital.
No, they had a stunt double.
Yeah,
they used her ass for that. That's freaking hilarious.
That's the same. You still needed a double because you hired somebody who didn't look the part.
Oh my god! But one of the most popular things recently was the TV universe, the Netflix shows.
Was that popular?
Those were very good.
Oh, the Netflix shows were great.
And I will defend Iron Fist. Yes, Finn Jones needed to learn martial arts, but I will still defend that series writing. I thought the writing was good.
Mm-hmm.
No, okay, the writing is good compared to most things Marvel has done recently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I still feel like that's a very flawed bar.
Yeah.
Now the Netflix shows, season 1 and season 2 of Daredevil was some of the best stuff to ever come out of the Marvel at all. Okay?
Yeah.
And just like he's going to defend Iron Fist, I will defend Jessica Jones aside from season 2.
Is it just me, or does it feel like a lot of those Netflix shows just started to fucking just fall apart in the second season?
Well, okay, well, there's reasonings with that that I can go into later, but Jessica Jones was actually how you MCU a character without going full MCU.
Yeah.
I mean, it was completely character-driven show. It didn't need spectacle. It was a character study. Luke Cage kind of played on the 70s black exploitation films.
Mm-hmm.
But it did so in a way that wasn't terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was done tastefully.
Now, the Defenders, I won't defend that series. That was terrible.
Irony.
That was awful. Right.
Yeah.
It was good in concept. Just the execution was
very
not.
bad.
Yeah.
It was very bad. So now that was run by somebody. Those were run by Jeff Loeb, who was part of Marvel Entertainment, which was Ike Perlmutter's
Oh, okay.
vision. Now Ike was the check against Kevin Feige. He was the guy who told him no.
Yep.
And told him no.
Yeah, back when anybody could do that.
And told him no a lot.
Yeah, Ike Perlmutter was Moses raising the Red Sea. Like, that dude, yeah, I'm just saying.
Now,
Is it me or does any... When you see Kevin Feige's face compared to like most people, right? Like, look at Joker. He wears a hat. Like, he looks decent in the hat. It suits him. But when you see Kevin Feige, the dude looks like his wife's after finding his porn collection under the bed and he don't know what to do.
Okay. So here's the thing here's why.
It's called plastic surgery.
And this is why I kind of had to go, because Feige wanted to take this in a different direction, in line with how Iger wanted to take Disney into a different direction.
Yeah.
So he wanted to follow suit. Now Iger and Kevin love the spotlight. They love the spotlight. Ike doesn't. Ike does not. And it was when Ike finally had to go was when someone had an article show up in a local Florida paper with Ike hosting an event for at the time presidential candidate
who would end up being our 45th president.
Correct.
Yeah, and this is when the political cracks in Marvel as an organization
started showing.
Well, okay, and Gary, so Gary from Nerd Erotic has a great video of the origins of the MCU, and it is not something that he started; it's something Kevin Feige started.
Well, there's no surprise there.
Which there was an interview, and this is post Endgame, where he said he hopes to see, hopes meaning will, at least half the Marvel characters as female. That is a quote from Kevin Feige. Gary just gave it a name.
Now, do any of you remember the Captain Marvel? Because I know you've been waiting for this, so we'll just go into from here. The Captain Marvel movie, where they kept like every generation needs a hero, but HER was highlighted.
Hero, right?
Yeah, so it became
it's more
needs a hero.
Okay, before you go
ahead.
I have a love-hate relationship with that film. Objectively, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It is the first film that I saw in theaters after I was on 60 hours of Suicide Watch.
Oh God.
Right. Oh.
Now, there is a subplot in there where Carol is looking back through her life, and the moments she gets knocked down and gets knocked down and gets knocked down and gets knocked down, what does she do? She gets back up, she gets back up, she gets back up, she gets back up. That is the perfect message that I needed to see at that time.
Well, that's great.
There's nothing
I'm really
wrong
happy
with
for
that.
you.
Wait. So
Even a broken clock.
So I do get some shit on it, but this is a constant reminder of that message there.
You know what? I don't hold that against anybody. Not for something like that.
So,
but that goes along with what I say. The stuff that they do right makes everything else look that much worse.
Yeah.
Correct.
Like,
Correct.
just to go off Captain. Sorry,
Go
one
ahead,
sec.
you go
I'll get. Just to go off Captain Marvel for 1 second. Deadpool had one of the best comic strips in all of comic history if you ask
overrated
me.
character.
Oh, hold on. No, Deadpool and the Suicidal Girl. Like, I absolutely look. Farv, you've seen me through the pandemic. You understand why I love
I
this.
understand. Yeah.
Like, that Joker for me, like, speaks to me. Like that one, and like when I don't know how you feel, but when I read it and things like that, it gets me in the feels, and I absolutely love that comic. And one of my favorite lines is, "Don't worry, he makes a promise. I'll get you where you need to go." And at the end of it, he arrives at the hospital, and it's like, "What do you mean? I thought you were going to take me back to the building so he could jump off." And said, "No, I told you, I'm going to take you where you need to go." And he brought her where she needed to go.
Yeah.
Like, when they do it right, they do it right. But Joker, you were saying.
Okay, and I said this last night on Roman of the Empire stream, because we were closing out the Secret Invasion series, which was terrible.
Yeah, I need.
Oh,
I need to
Yeah,
watch
it really
that one
was.
you did. I haven't watched that episode you did yet.
Just watch
Watched it yet.
my reviews, and you'll be fine.
Anything good about it?
Okay, I have watched every Marvel Disney Plus series, obviously because I hate myself.
Yeah.
But there are things that were done well, and I pointed out 3 in the first 5 episodes of the WandaVision is probably the most creatively ambitious thing Marvel has even tried.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the series Hawkeye, where there were some very tender the moments when Clint is talking about or talking with his kids. Kate has somewhat of an arc in there, and then I know we're gonna talk about Sanaa in a second, but the Miss Marvel show was honestly the most positive and the best family dynamic of anything Marvel has done.
I love that
do,
show.
I do have a couple of things to say about that. I didn't watch the show, but about the character herself, I do have a couple of things to say about it. And they're not entirely negative. I just have some opinions about it.
Right.
But I loved in the show, especially her father, when he was explaining like her name and the red scarf that he gave her and what it means. The bangles was weird, but the way it all went into her culture and everything, and it wasn't like her best friend, like nowadays he'd be crapped on for being white, but he wasn't crapped on like or anything like that. Like, he was showing like the culture. It was good.
And I loved the scene where she wants to go to Comic-Con and her dad wants to go. Her dad wants to go with her just to be part of something, just to be in her life. And she shits on him because she's a teenager.
Yeah.
And he was being a bit cringy and embarrassing. But
there's no teenage girl that wants her dad to be following her around a con acting like a dork. I mean,
right. And it was endearing. It was cute. And again, that is a show that I am not the target audience for. That is for 14-year-old Pakistani girls. That's a very niche market there.
Yeah, I'd say
like that's it.
Whose parents wouldn't even let them watch it. You know.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Right.
Like, in the show, she's obsessed with Miss Marvel.
Carol Danvers.
Marvel.
Yeah. And so the whole thing was the mother's like, fine, you can go to Comic-Con, but your dad's going dressed as the Hulk, which leads to this scene here, because as you can see, the mother has made the daughter her own Hulk costume.
Right. And that's cute. That's like, okay, we want to share this with you, meet us halfway. And she's like, oh God, no. But that's a teenager. Yeah. That's a 16-year-old girl.
What I loved about that show, one of the little dynamics things that they did in the show was her planning out her big, huge, like, they go up on the bike, they bounce down,
that was
they
hilarious.
go.
That was
Yeah,
hilarious.
and then they just turn around and barely make it, and it's like, no, my bikes, and they get back and one of the tires was stolen off the bike.
Right.
Well, but see, my issue with that show isn't the show, because I haven't even watched it. My problem is that they had to change her completely for that show. If that's
Right.
not an indicator that the comic book is a failure,
Right.
I don't know what is. But the thing is, like in the comic book, the things that they, like I bring up the things they do right versus what they do wrong.
Oh,
they kept
boy,
they
that
kept
comic
trying.
book.
Well, but they kept trying to build a relationship between her and mom, her, the priest, if you will, of her religion, and a parallel between like that and say Matt Murdock and Father Donovan, and that kind of thing. And where it works in Daredevil, it does not work in in Miss Marvel. And that's because they are. This was made. I don't care what the nationality or the religion of the creator. Anybody would have to look at this and say that this is a very westernized version of their religion.
Yes.
And, and that's the thing. They're like Joker was saying, their target audience for both this book and this show would not even be allowed to watch or consume this media.
Not unless they were. Now, this is with the little knowledge I have, but not all sects of the Muslim faith or Islamic faith are the same.
Correct.
They're actually not even Muslim.
I know.
Well,
I'm just giving that as an example.
Well, I was going to say there are a bunch of different denominations of Christianity
exactly.
too. I just
Exactly.
And this is where the thing is. The difference between Ms. Marvel and Daredevil
Yeah.
having a religious overtone, because there absolutely is.
Oh yeah.
Daredevil's Catholic, out and out.
Right. But Daredevil and Farva here is your segue here. Daredevil is not a self-insert.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Okay. So I already explained that I came into these in a different place than a lot of people do who read any comics now. I came in, we'll just drag up this little stack of books.
1942.
Ha ha, fuck off. Anyway, I came in when this was Miss Marvel. This is
Let me
Carol
just
Danvers.
enhance.
This is before Carol Danvers became Captain Marvel, before Captain Marvel was a thing big time in the comics. And I have a lot of these because I read a lot of these. I've got a stack. There's the bits of her story that happened during Civil War, Ascension, Secret Invasion. She had a storyline in that. There's a ton of these, and they were all good because back then they hadn't gone the Captain Marvel ultra feminist Brie Larson route.
Yeah,
They
even used that Captain Marvel to cure Rogue.
Mm-hmm. Well, because Rogue stole her powers.
Well, yeah, but it was just get rid of Rogue's like crappy power and replace her with something else, made her useful. By the way, you were saying?
Yeah, well, because back then Carol, and they've modified it since, Carol was a test pilot for the Air Force. She was kind of a hotshot, but she was actually good-hearted. She had a good sense of humor. She was a good character. She was fun to read about. And when she got her powers, it didn't really change her as a person. She was still kind of a thrill seeker. She was still a bit of a hotshot, but she still had a good heart. She was working with S.H.I.E.L.D. for a long time. She had a really good arc in Civil War, where she was kind of for the longest time stuck between trying to decide what she wanted to do when it came to Captain America and Tony Stark. The organization and order she was used to versus, the freedom that Cap was trying to kind of envision and embody for superpowered individuals. These were all good storylines. But then they hit that mark where they started pushing the Captain Marvel thing. And that's when that character really started to degrade.
Yes.
Real bad. And then when they went to the thing, I don't have an issue with the new Miss Marvel on paper, but the issue was the comics could never make up their mind what they wanted to do with her, and that meant the stories always got convoluted and awkward, and like Joker said, it became kind of a self-insert issue where the writer was trying to write in like her own experiences, which would be fine, except you're not writing yourself. You have to fit this stuff in somewhere. And so her character changed so radically, so many times, that they haven't been able to keep her as a standardized character. They haven't been able to figure out who she is.
When you have to reboot somebody 13 times in 10 years, there might be a problem.
And Miss Marvel was never an A-lister in the freaking Avengers or in S.H.I.E.L.D. or anything, but she was always consistent until Captain Marvel.
Like, Farv, hold up one of those covers and show us the original one. And I'm going to compare her, right? Look at that. Look at this. Look at this woman right there. Okay? Compared to this.
Oh, some of the new art styles hurt so much.
See, and that's the thing. I had a friend in high school.
Yeah.
She literally sewed clothes for her Barbie dolls to make them look like superhero chicks. And that was like her favorite. Her Miss Marvel doll was like, and she went by Warbird at the time.
Yeah,
and,
that was when she was working for S.H.I.E.L.D. and she had like body armor and shit.
And that's the thing. Like she was, she's in the home ec class and everything, and and she just kind of went crazy with the sewing machine one day, and she's like showing off all these doll clothes she made and everything. I mean, that she might not have been an A-lister, but she was a character that inspired people.
Yeah.
When I was at Comic-Con, the last time I was there was a couple of people doing like a Marvel panel, like fans at the and one of the girls was dressed up as that Carol Danvers, like the one in the black suit, and everyone was like, "Hey, can we get a picture with you?" They thought she looked professional, like she was like looked fantastic, and they're like, "Why did you dress as her versus the Miss Marvel from the movies?" And she turned around and she looked and she said, "Because I feel Miss Marvel from the movies is not Miss Marvel. She's not Captain Marvel. She said, like, they threw away Marvel completely. Like, he's such a big part of who she was, like, her journey.
Yeah.
To basically have him as a glorified cameo.
I have to ask. So, the one comic that Favre had, Captain Marvel looked great. Why do the other two look like Captain Marvel trying to be a man, and the one on the short hair looked like a weird?
It's the
transgender
new art direction that Marvel's been going for to try to appease. I'm just going to lay it out. A lot of people who don't even read comics.
Right.
Yeah.
They're trying to appeal to the Twitter crowd, and shit like that is the same reason that Frank Castle doesn't exist anymore. Because I'm sorry, this is going to sound mildly political, but this is the actual reason behind it, so you have to forgive me for a minute.
Yes. No, Farb, go ahead, because it's relevant. You go ahead and you can talk about it.
This character, Frank Castle, a former Marine whose family was murdered.
That's a beautiful cover, too.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, yeah, it's stunning. And iconic as well.
It was because the editors and writers at Marvel didn't like the fact that Frank was A, a white man, B, a war veteran, C, promoted firearms. In their opinion, he was promoting,
and a patriot.
Yeah, and he was patriotic. He had an honor code, as gray area as it might have been, where he didn't attack cops, he didn't harm the innocent.
One can argue he was a black man once.
That's terrible. Anyway, and he was popular with what they considered conservative readers. They didn't like the fact that at one point, police and the military, they understood, they grasped this character so well, including guys I went to Iraq with, that they would put Punisher logos.
Thanks for your service.
Thank you. They would put Punisher logos on vehicles, or they have little patches or stuff in their car windows, and they could not stand that law enforcement and the military, which they had this infinite problem with from guys like Mark Waid, which I won't even get into that can of worms. But guys like Mark Waid had issues with this. Garth Ennis turned into a complete crackpot.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. And so
I feel like Garth Ennis just kind of showed that he was after a while.
He might have. That's entirely possible. But basically, there's like, we need to break this character down. And they're literally like, we want to take him away from the radical right.
Did they make him into the Ghost Rider at one stage?
No.
Okay,
So
no. So in an alternate, there was the Cosmic Ghost Rider. He's been Frankencastle. He had
was
that
also
weird
War Machine at one
time. He was War Machine. He had that. They turned Frank Castle, like you're talking about the last decade. They made him the biggest super identity thief. In the freaking Marvel universe. He was walking around as Frankenstein's creation. I mean, holy freaking crap!
I remember that one.
The hell, he even had a Captain America suit for a while.
Is they couldn't stand that, no matter how they tried to marginalize him, that this character remained as popular as he did, because they felt he was a right-wing power fantasy and all this other bull crap. So they pulled this crap where they used the Hand, a group that Castle hated, and they made him a part of the Hand. They gave him this evil power that he never had nothing to do with to begin with.
Which they had already done with Daredevil years before.
Exactly. And then they go through this whole spiel. They have him working for the Hand. They take all his guns away. Now he only uses swords. And he's got like an Oni skull instead of the old Punisher skull. And then finally, that's not insulting enough. That's not good enough to really just take him away from these people that we hate. Now we're just going to break him down completely, go through this dumb storyline where his wife comes back from the dead to tell him she hated him, and then we're just going to kill him. He's going to commit suicide. Yeah, thanks. Great.
Nope.
Good fucking job.
So this has been the strategy of Marvel ever since the all different Marvel came out. This has been the strategy of Marvel Studios post Endgame is to deconstruct, and they make it sound like, oh, we are just breaking down the character, getting more in depth, and they're trying to sound intellectual when they're really saying is we are systematically destroying these characters because we want to appease the Twitter mob who doesn't buy comics and who doesn't understand what these characters mean. Now,
because they're ashamed of their real fans. They keep trying to trade us out for people, like you said, that don't buy anything, and because they're ashamed of us. Instead, I mean, I don't know when it became the antithesis of business to make money. It doesn't make any damn sense.
But you're also forgetting, though, as well, the executive who was just fired, the diversity
Victoria Alonso.
Chief executive, where she was the one who created the Think of Tomorrow campaign, which is what's pushing a lot of this crap. She is the reason why a lot of it started.
And they didn't stop any of it. They just got rid of her.
Yeah.
Okay. So what Victoria Alonso was? She was normally under her actual job. She's in charge. She was in charge of post and VFX. Mm-hmm. She inserted herself into the creative side and created the mantle.
Just like a certain Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh yeah.
The mantle where the character is not the person. The character are immutable attributes. So anyone can be Captain America. All you need is a red, white, and blue costume and a shield. No, Steve Rogers is the only Captain America, and they've been so they did it with the diversity hire, Sam.
And then we got Captain Carter because they decided that wasn't good enough.
Captain Carter officially became Captain Britain,
which is fine. That part I didn't mind, but it's like, why did she ever need to be Captain America? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So then, and even though there were good parts of Hawkeye, that show was a complete bait and switch. It's advertised as a Hawkeye show. But in the opening credits, there's nothing about Clint. It's all about Kate.
Yeah.
So Kate is an archer, and she wears purple. So now she's Hawkeye. No, Clint is Hawkeye.
I can understand your point, but can't any of us really complain with Haley Steinfeld being Kate Bishop?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
actually.
Okay,
but-
we cannot allow
Hold up, guys.
ourselves
Wait a
to
minute,
be
wait a minute.
mesmerized by the pussy.
Okay.
True say.
I have no problem with Haley Steinfeld as an actress. She's very good, but she's not Hawkeye. So don't market her as Hawkeye.
Exactly.
I'm going to tell you something which is going to go and like really show the confidence that Haley Steinfeld has as Hawkeye. She is pushing for her to play Gwen Stacy.
Wow.
What?
I mean, she's technically
Yeah.
already that into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, she is pushing because they're bringing Gwen Stacy live action. They've
But, yeah, I
confirmed.
was going to say, she's talking about she's already the animated one. She's already Hawkeye
the
now.
She's already the voice, right?
So what? She's going to like dye her hair.
Wouldn't be the first time an actress did it.
Yeah, cut and dye,
Yeah.
Or a wig.
dye the hair.
Or a
Yeah.
wig,
I mean, I'm not saying that she would make a bad Spider-Gwen, but like I would rather see like Emma Stone actually do that before like Haley Steinfeld take
she's
the man.
gone too
That's in
old.
my opinion.
Too old.
And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that Emma Stone would be a better choice, but I'd rather see her do it. before-
I mean, if you
Haley
want,
Steinfeld
if you
or no
wanted
actress.
to do her like Emma Stone, like just say for talk's sake, what you could do is see another multiverse thing, right? And you see Emma Stone walk up somewhere like on a ledge, or she's fighting someone, right? Or she's even in a room and she takes off the mask, holds the white mask, and she looks up and it's Emma Stone. Don't have her fighting. Don't have her.
I'm going to be
Go
this
ahead.
guy. I'm going to say that part of the problem recently has been Marvel's reliance on the multiverse thing.
Okay, can we talk about Doctor
I'll
Strange and
You
Multiverse
might
of
as well
Madness?
unpack that shit while you're here.
Oh, God.
Before we do that,
Hold up. What's up, Bubba?
okay, before we do that, can we talk about Loki really quick?
Go ahead.
No.
Okay, so because you can't have the multiverse of madness without the Loki series, and the problem is that moment, any bit of good faith that I freaking had for these people still, anything that I thought maybe there was a sliver of a chance, forget all the woke shit. They ruined their entire continuity with one line in the first episode of the Loki series, when when the Time Bureau or whatever tells Loki that they're that everything the Avengers did was sanctioned by the divine timeline. That means all through it, forget what Doctor Strange did, forget what the rest of them did. There were no stakes. There was no real sacrifice. There was no reason for them to do anything, because one way or another, Kang was going to make it happen.
The MTA as an
it
entity
ruined everything.
was completely just dismantling to anything.
But you were saying,
You were
Joker?
gonna say, Joker?
That scene made everything from phase 1, 2, and 3 irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
All of Tony Stark's growth from a spoiled brat who would cut the wire to the man who ultimately lays on the wire. All of that growth meant nothing, because
And I like that. I like that reference there from the animated movie.
because that snap was always going to happen. It's always going to be at that time, at that moment, and it's
always going to be undone.
To be Tony.
And it really
yeah.
feels like what it is, that they created the fucking MTA or whatever the fuck it was called to deliberately undo everything they decided they didn't like.
I'm going to show you. I didn't watch it, but I'm going to show you the clip, the scene that really pissed me off in the still.
Uh-huh.
No,
Yep.
the fucking,
Oh yeah, that me and my brother were like
Oh my
agreeing
god.
with that.
Yeah.
That-
Like,
that
you're
me-
acting like the Infinity Stones
ultimate
to be like pebbles.
MacGuffins. Right.
Mm-hmm. Like, they're kept in a fucking drawer?
As paperweights, they're meaningless. Again,
Yeah.
phases 1, 2, and 3 are
Not only
meaningless.
that, but it really is a complete waste of all the time and effort that actor put into making Loki actually means something.
Because he had to meet female Loki.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think.
Hold on.
Hold on. There's no such thing as a female Loki. Go look at the Thor comics. That
was
Enchantress.
just Loki.
Yeah.
It's Enchantress.
Yeah.
It is,
I meant in the comics there was at one point when they did turn him into a woman, but it was still fucking Loki.
Yeah.
But he also falls in love with the variant of himself, which. And
That
then,
actually seems like a very Loki thing to do on one hand, but it was handled so poorly in that stupid show.
yeah, but one of the scenes, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, there's no thunder," but you'd see the lightning, but there was no thunder because Thor is dead. And I'm just looking, and I'm like, he doesn't actually make thunder.
No, he doesn't. Yeah.
But we can also blame that show too for the multiverse, which I think like now like they have leaning way too much on multiverse. Like now it's like a lazy way to like if they make a mistake of something, we can bring another person on the character. That's what they did.
Growing
And
up,
the reason why I'm saying that is because they all kind of did that with Arrow. Arrow killed off the Black Canary, Laurel Lance, the second Black Canary, and then fans got mad and they brought in pretty much an evil person of her and redeemed her.
Because that's what DC and Marvel have both done
very
now.
skeptical about them using the multiverse at the moment, just because of that reason.
And you're absolutely right.
And using the multiverse of madness, and this is where Marvel really got in trouble with themselves here, and because everything is so integrated now.
Yep.
If you did not watch WandaVision, the first hour, you're lost.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. You're like,
I haven't watched WandaVision.
Because Multiverse of Meh is not a Doctor Strange story. It's a Wanda story.
It literally is.
And I agree
most
with
of
you
it.
on the whole problem with that is Multiverse of Madness is hinged on you knowing why the fuck Wanda is chasing after these children who don't fucking exist.
Well,
the opening thing of when he meets Wanda, he walks up and he's standing there and it's like, oh yeah, you here to talk to me about what I did in that place. What place? I'm like, what are you fucking on about?
America Chavez.
Yeah.
Another character who cannot hold their own title.
See, and that's the thing. If you take Kamala Khan, you take America Chavez, you take Kate Bishop, any of these characters, Robbie Reyes, that version of Ghost Rider, none of them can stand on their own. They can't even hold a book together, and they sure as hell can't hold a movie.
So, and this became the other big part of Phase 4, is to rob the hero, the person who's in the title.
Yeah.
It's Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yes.
But Wanda is so powerful.
He's not even the Sorcerer Supreme. They made Wong the Sorcerer Supreme.
Correct. Okay, but my point is, they made Wanda so powerful. The only person who can defeat Wanda is Wanda. So you deny the hero.
Yeah.
You are denying the hero the moment to shine.
Canonically, her status at the end of that movie is listed as unknown. Canonically. And I'm like, you drop a mountain on yourself and it's listed as unknown.
Marvel can't. They can't. It's not that they can't. They won't. They refuse to finalize anything so that they can always just check it off again and just start over.
Because
that's why I'm also.
This is what happens when you hire the writing staff of Rick and
Morty.
Right.
Yeah, you were saying, Phil?
God.
No, I was going to say that, and that's also why I'm like hating the fact of the multiverse, because like even in What If, they even brought in like Black Widow into like the MCU's universe too, I believe.
Yeah.
If memory serves me right. So like, then what the hell was the point of her death in the Endgame?
Actually, one of the things that really, I watched Multiverse of Madness. One of the things that really was stupid. So we know from WandaVision that her kids are imaginary. Her kids are concepts. They don't exist, right?
Right.
How the fuck do they exist in other universes as physical kids?
They don't. They don't.
Yeah.
Logically, that
Go
shouldn't
ahead,
even be
Frank.
possible.
Yeah.
And supposedly they're bringing in the Wiccan and Speed to do the
Yep.
young
As the same
Avengers.
actors.
And I'm like, how?
Ugh.
They don't exist.
Yeah.
Well, and on top, well,
Oh,
yes, but
but-
in the actual Marvel comics, they did come from an alternate dimension. So I mean, but see, that's the problem. They have begun back then. That was a cool story, but like y'all pointed out, they are now using the multiverse as a means to shake everything like an Etch-a-Sketch every 10 minutes. They are over relying on the multiverse. There's nothing special about it anymore.
talking
There's no
about-
stakes anymore.
Talking
And
about
the-
shaking.
And one,
What
the
they
one
did-
thing about, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. What they did in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is they also stated that if you cross from one universe into another, you then cause an incursion where two universes will collide. The whole fucking point of that movie is multiverse hopping. So how many
Yeah.
universes are dead at this stage?
Like, why
Well,
even bring up the incursion angle when you're just actively just ignoring
Pissing on it, yeah. Well, and that's the thing. As far as the Multiverse of Madness goes, they ran into one more problem, and they ran into this, and that's the thing. No Way Home was a good movie. I will say that right now.
Yeah.
All three
And I'll agree.
Spider-Man, all three Spider-Man, everything that was a good movie. I liked Venom 2. I liked Morbius. Now Morbius would have done a lot
Can't
better
help you on
had they.
those.
Well, Morbius would have done a lot better if they had released it when they said they were going to release it, instead of making them wait so they could shoehorn MCU shit in it.
Morbius
But-
would have done a lot better if they'd actually written it right.
Morbius
well,
would have
but-
done a lot
okay.
better if they cast.
Okay, but let's get so.
Yeah.
But to finish my point, just to finish my point real quick, the problem is that Multiverse of Madness and No Way Home proved one thing that Marvel has been trying, that Disney has been trying to get us to, it proved that they are not the best continuity, because
No.
everybody showed up when they started bringing other past continuity actors back in. They're putting Elektra in the new Daredevil movie as Jennifer Garner.
Serious.
Yeah.
Serious.
Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Now, also, what Multiverse of Meh proved, and also with Wakanda Forever proved, is Marvel cannot stick to clearly established rules of their universe from previous films. And I will use this example from both films. It was clearly stated in Doctor Strange, if you are in the mirror dimension, the only way to get out is with a sling ring.
Yes.
That is a clearly defined rule.
Yeah, and she.
But Wanda can.
Yeah, Wanda just.
Like nothing.
Right.
And here's
Now-
something weird.
Okay. And now in Wakanda Forever. So Shuri's suit is made of vibranium.
Mhm.
Namor's the blade of Namor's spear is vibranium, and he punctures and he puts that staff through her. That should not happen because it's clearly established.
Vibranium bounces off vibranium.
Yeah.
But-
If anything, it should have gone boom.
But the scripts need the plot to happen, so there you go. And by the way, how does Wakanda have a ocean liner being a landlocked nation?
I don't fucking know.
Okay,
Yeah, that one
Okay,
cracked me
so
up.
the
That
way
cracked
it-
me up.
the way I've heard it explained is someone literally used real world politics of like kingdoms alliance and blah 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 of they're basically renting the dock.
That's bullshit.
And yet, even if that's the excuse, they make no effort to explain any fucking part of that.
No,
It's just
here's
there.
here's something else that's stupid. In Doctor Strange and Meh, as Joker's been calling it, the statue of what were they calling her? The Scarlet Witch, right?
Yeah.
Was literally Wanda in the outfit, not like it's a logo, it's an effigy, whatever. No, it's literally Wanda in the exact clothes that she's building in ruins. Who the fuck saw her? Like, and the thing is, she's not even the first Scarlet Witch. There was meant to be one before her.
Yeah.
So where was their effigy? And then if there was one before her, shouldn't there be one after her?
Well, I mean, I don't know about you, but I cannot wait for the Agatha Harkness show. I'm just.
Oh God, yeah, I'm waiting.
Oh dear Lord, I thought they canceled that.
Oh no!
I seriously thought they canceled that. But I mean, and that's the thing. Like you said, they cannot stick to their own rules.
I
They cannot-
forgot
yeah.
that was gonna be a thing.
Because we're getting Echo, not in installments, all at once, folks. That's confidence in that show.
But
Oh, boy.
guys, do you want to shield yourselves and we wrap this
yeah,
up?
okay,
Because we can
now,
come back
right.
next week to talk about the MCU itself.
Sure.
Fuck, we might
Okay.
as well.
We'll start off with Phil, seeing he's the guest. Phil, you want to shield yourself, man?
But what?
You want to shield
Advertise
yourself?
yourself.
Shield yourself. Shield.
Oh,
You gotta
oh,
get-
shield.
Yeah.
That's what we
Okay.
call pushing yourself out. Like, I've got your YouTube channel right here.
Pimp yourself out.
Okay, so you guys can find me on YouTube and Twitter as PhoTMNT. I even have a Kingdom Hearts channel called Phil the Keyblade Master because I'm too obsessed with Kingdom Hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys can like in the future potentially find me here as of like I do also channel hop as well.
Yeah.
So like
Like, he's welcome
That's
back all the time, like.
any channel that will have me, I'll gladly be on board.
Yeah.
Also,
I'm
that-
actually in your Discord.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you are. Yeah. And so like, and if you guys haven't already, please go sub to Potato Raping because he's
Yes,
amazing.
thank you.
for having me. It's been an honor.
Always, man. Farv, I'm doing you now.
All right.
So,
Whoa, no.
wait, no, no. Bad Joker.
Hey,
That's
just,
your job.
Ooh.
just think of blood as lube.
Ooh, terrible. Anyway, yeah, I have a channel. It's called Farvithian Guard. It's a gaming channel. My brother and I have been working on. We're sitting at about 505 subs right now, which
Nice.
is pretty awesome. We started it assuming we were never going to get past 30 because we're not the most politically correct or filtered people on the planet.
What's politically correct?
Yeah, well, exactly. We do occasionally do discussions on there. Just depends if we got anything worth talking about. I've got my book out there, the first novel in my fantasy series. I'm about 3/4 of the way done with the next book, at least before the editing. I got that out there on Amazon. He's got the link up for that. It's a fantasy novel. I'm working on the sequel right now, and there's probably going to be 3 of them before I'm done. And oh yeah, there we go, right there. And I'm pretty proud of that. I put a lot of time and effort into that. My brother does my editing on my channel and my books.
Yeah.
So
Joker, you want?
Yes, I have a YouTube. I also have a YouTube channel, The Joker's Voice. I just over this past weekend, I passed 500.
Fantastic.
Congrats, man.
I'm at 508. I need hours. So if you go to my channel, click the playlist tabs and just press play all and let them run.
Same with all of our stuff.
Yes. So I need the hours. I just wrapped up the previous week. I wrapped up my 3rd fundraiser for the Stuttering Foundation of America. I am proud to say that we raised more the money this time than the previous 2, so that is great as well. Yeah, I dropped my final review of Secret Invasion this morning.
I have to ask you, Joker. After watching Secret Invasion, how's your liver?
Ooh.
It's still there. I mean, kind of. I mean, I think Critical Drinker and I are kind of going neck and neck here with the
I got
the
you.
whiskey with the whiskey consumption. I will be dropping my last week's news video on the Monday, and if you're a fan of Game of Thrones, Friday the Monday is 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We are myself and a few others are on the Legion Talk channel. We've been going through the entire series, getting up to House of the Dragon season 2, and we are in season 4. We will be commenting episode 8. So
Nice. Okay, so Bubba.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Oh, there he is.
if I start roboting again, we'll just down it. But anyway, now you guys can find me on Twitter. I am Geek Hero Bubba. I am always antagonizing the SJWs. I feel like I'm at an AA meeting here. I have not actually went to the theater. I have not actually went to the theater to see a superhero movie since Multiverse of Meh. And the last time I watched anything MCU related was Werewolf by Night, which we can talk about next week. It was the last thing they did good, and it was living proof that they really do hate us because they could give us what we want at any time. They just refuse to.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, y'all all have a good week.
But FPS, you want to push yourself?
Is he there? He's muted.
Good chat.
Did we lose him?
FPS.
We lost him.
I think we lost him.
Oh.
Well, if you guys can subscribe to FPS's channel.
Yeah, go and subscribe. I'm dropping his Twitch here in the chat.
All right.
So go and check him out. There he is. He does Destiny, Apex Legends, stuff like that. So guys, thank you everyone for watching, everyone for liking, everyone in the future, and we will see you next week where we'll be talking about how the MCU turned into the MCU.
Or Phase Bore.
Exactly.
Phase dive.